Welcome to the Heart for God podcast. With many years of experience pastoring and helping to start churches, Dr. Jim Townsley has some practical and biblical advice that can be a great help to you and your ministry. On this podcast, Dr. Townsley and other guests with special expertise cover a variety of topics. His goal is to help you lead your church to be a healthy, strong, and balanced ministry, and for your family to be happy, healthy, and living for the Lord.
Welcome to today's podcast. Glad you joined me. Seems like as I travel and go to different churches and doing various things, missions conferences, family conferences, and church reviews, seems like everywhere I go, people say, "Oh, I listen to your podcast," which is always surprising to me. But my intent is to be helpful, especially to young preachers, and give you some advice from 53 years of experience. So hopefully today is something that will be a help to you. I think early on in the ministry, there was especially in the 70s and 80s, there was church growth. There was a lot of people being saved and churches planted, churches growing. And the big emphasis was on soul winning, which is terrific. John R. Rice really sort of changed the mentality and the importance of personal soul winning and wrote a booklet, and other people wrote information about soul winning. But over time, over a couple decades, it became apparent that there's more than just getting someone to make a profession of faith. There's an obligation to teach and train and disciple people. And so through the years, people come up with different ideas and materials, and I think much of it's very good. Some of them it's a year of intense study and Bible doctrine, foundational truths, and there's no doubt that new believers need to have a basic knowledge of the Bible, a foundation. That's very, very important. But I want to spend the time on this podcast just talking about this matter of discipleship and, how do we train these people? How do we disciple them? It's not just training. It's not just information. It's how do we develop them into followers of Jesus Christ and helping them grow in grace and be a mature, a strong believer and reproducing souls themselves. This may sound trite, but really the Bible always has the answers about church business, church growth, and foundational truths. And if we just go back to the Bible, and we usually find what people complicate. And to simplify things, I think maybe the example set is the training of the 12. Jesus trained these disciples, these 12 apostles, and set a standard, really, it's probably not the way most of us would like to do it or think it should be done, because it requires time and effort, personal involvement. It's a challenge to make that commitment. And remember, he only trained 12, and one of them miserably failed. Well, maybe all of them failed to some degree, but he developed some disciples that really shook the world. And just starting with 12 people, one fell the wayside, and the others became deeply committed Christians. So he called them. He said, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." And they followed him. That's an amazing thing. And they were common people. They were just regular people, fishermen. In fact, maybe they weren't even regular people. They were some of the poor, some of the despised people. Matthew, a tax collector who was hated. James, Peter, Andrew, James, and John, just very common people from Galilee. But he chose those people, and they followed him. And there's certain things that we see, and sometimes we fail to recognize the importance of it, he lived in a close relationship with these disciples. He spent extensive time with them for 3 years. So it wasn't an 8-week or 12-week discipleship course. It wasn't just giving them information and doctrine. He spent time with them and modeled Christianity before them. They traveled together, they ate together, they shared their daily life together. And they observed his interactions. They spent time with him in prayer and observed his prayer life. They observed his responses to people. So that allowed him to show them true Christian character. His humility was evidenced by washing the disciples' feet. There's no doubt they saw his compassion and his obedience and strict adherence to God's will. So he modeled an example. He didn't just tell them how to live, he showed them. He preached, he healed, he confronted hypocrisy, he served others. He said, I've given you an example so that they might know how to follow him in the Christian life. So they watched him pray, handle conflict. They saw as he ministered to people, and they were basically told to imitate this example of what he showed them. And this is not an easy thing. That means you cannot separate yourself from the ministry in some way, just give people information, tell them what to do. They need to spend time with you and watch your interactions with people and see what happens if you hit your thumb with a hammer. You start swearing, and that people say, "Oh, wow, is that what Christianity is?" And they see how someone offends you, and they were totally wrong. How did you respond to that? They saw your compassion, your burden, how your effort to reach others with Christ, your caring for the outcast. So they are watching you and how you respond to the daily things of life. And if they're not with you, if you don't spend time with them, then they can't see how to model their Christian life. So it is important to realize you have to spend time with them. You have a family in most cases. You have a wife that you can't spend every minute with them, but you do have. It does take time. Meeting with them regularly, going soul winning with them, working on projects at the church or outreach programs, or assembling Bibles to send out, and going on a mission trip, going to camp, vacation Bible school, banquets, and to isolate yourself from those things and just delegate them misses the opportunity for people to watch you and how you deal with people and how you effectively reach people, how you can help disciple others. So there is formal teaching. Jesus delivered sermons, obviously the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5 through 7. They're parables. They're direct lessons on these kingdom parables. There's teaching through the Lord's Prayer. There's an emphasis on forgiveness, on love. All these things are teaching people, telling them basically New Testament theology, and showing that the comparison between just formally doing certain things like the Pharisees, following rituals. Now there's something about the heart. And so they obviously saw his heart, which has an impact upon people when they see your heart. And then there was informal and private explanation of things. Many times he explained his teachings privately. He would teach publicly, and then he would meet privately with his disciples to explain or interpret parables or different things, to correct misunderstandings and so on. They also saw his suffering in the opposition. All those things were opportunities for them to observe and to learn. Many times he used questions to provoke thought. Remember, he said, "Who do you say that I am?" The disciples came to him and asked questions. They said, "Lord, would you teach us to pray like John taught his disciples?" So there was a hands-on training and ultimately a delegation of responsibilities. So they spent time with him, they saw, they watched, they heard, they learned, and then he sent them out in pairs to preach, to heal, to cast out demons. They were involved in the ministry, like distributing food for the feeding of the 5,000. They went into town to get the food, and they faced failures. Remember, they were not able to cast out the demon. They said, "Why couldn't we cast them out?" And Jesus said, "This kind cometh not out but by prayer and fasting." And this built trust in God's provision. They traveled just with a money bag without extra supplies, and just like feeding the 5,000, it was the end of the day, they had no food. So they were watching this element of faith and trust in their Heavenly Father. In addition to that, he corrected his disciples. There was a building of their faith. Remember, he rebuked the errors of Peter. He said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." He encouraged humility. He prepared them for challenges of persecution that were coming. There were tests of faith. He stilled the storm. He said, why are you so troubled? And they said, "I've never seen anyone like this, that he can just still the storm." They watched him as he performed miracles. They were with him, and they saw the amazing things that he did. And I'm sure there are many things day by day that we don't even have record of, but that was their experience to be with him. And then there was something unique also about his commission and empowerment that transferred to them. He said, "Wait here at Jerusalem till you're endued with power from on high." So there was the promise of the Holy Spirit, another comforter, to come. And he gave them what we call the Great Commission: go and make disciples. Go into all the world, preach the gospel, teaching them to observe all the things I've commanded you. And his goal was multiplication. They were to reproduce others by what he did with them. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to explain it, that it wasn't a course. It was real life. And they said, "Now, I've taught you for 3 years. I want you to duplicate what I've taught you, and to go out and reach others with the gospel, disciple them." So I think maybe the most important point about all this thing of discipleship is you can't do it from your office. It can't all be delegated. You have to do personally the discipling of people and build their trust. And it can't be done in mass. It can't be done of thousands of people. Remember, he fed the 5,000, and it wasn't long after that it became the time of opposition, that people turned against him. But he did invest his life in training those. I want you to think for a moment, what if you could spend some time with 1, 2, 3, or 4 people every week and invest your life? You pour your life into them. Could even be a teenager. And over a period of time, a year, 2, 3 years or more, that you have gotten them to the point that they could do what you did with them. They could disciple others. And they can teach them from a curriculum. I mean, I have a book on Bible truths everybody should know, and there's a number of them out there. But it's not just going through a Bible study, but that they would understand, I've got to spend some time with a person. I'm going to find somebody I can disciple and teach them how to live the Christian life, to pray with them, to build them up, strengthen them, to necessarily reprimand them, correct them. And if I invest my life in them to the point they could do what I just did with them, this is a slow process. But if you did, let's say, disciple 2 or 3 people, and over time they became mature and strong, and each of them began to disciple and teach other people. See, that's a slow process. We don't like that. We're not patient. But it doesn't mean we can't be soul winning and reaching others. Not at all. We want to continue to do that. But to truly develop a core of people that know how, that have the passion that you have. They watched your model, and now you've duplicated yourself in them, and to the point where there could be another level where they start doing the same thing. Well, I hope this gives you some food for thought, some things to think about. And if I can help you, let me know. God bless you. I trust you have a great day.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, consider sharing it with a friend. You can also follow at Dr. Townsley on Twitter or on Facebook at Jim Townsley.